Hey guys, this is Vanessa. I'm currently editing the audio together for this episode, and I would just like to explain something. There's going to be a lot of background noises in the next couple of episodes, I don't know how many, because we normally record at my house because there's no distractions, there's nobody around that would interrupt the recording. But due to the fact that I could no longer access Disney Plus at my house, we've had to record at Taylor's house instead, and she does have people at her house that make noise in the background, so I apologize for that background noise. There's not much I can do about it. I didn't realize it was going to be as loud as it was, so just ignore that. And yeah, sorry, and thank you for listening.
Hey guys, I'm Taylor.
I'm Harley.
And I'm Vanessa. Welcome back to THVaudio.
Today we're going to be watching High School Musical 2, continuing on with our High School Musical series, which apparently Taylor has never watched.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Don't remember it.
So you all probably know what High School Musical 2 is about. It's the best High School Musical movie.
Yes, it is.
Indeed.
Because it's summer?
Well, I mean, that's part of it, obviously, but it also has the best songs, the best story, and more Sharpay. And more Ryan.
More Ryan.
Oh,
More
Ryan
my
is
favorite part of
definitely
this movie.
Good. Yes, Ryan who can't read.
Exactly.
I seem
Yes.
to remember that you did want to watch the second one, because
Yes.
you wanted more.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Yes, I am.
Good.
Good.
Yes.
You better be.
It's honestly the best one.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Let's do this.
Let's get started. All right, we just finished watching High School Musical 2, and may I just say, this movie made me incredibly angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Taylor and I just look at each other. Yeah.
It's definitely interesting.
I have always said this was my favorite High School Musical movie, and now that I've watched it again,
You should change your mind.
it made me so mad.
Yeah, I think it made us all realize that the first one's probably the best one.
I mean, honestly, though, like, even though they don't have as good songs, you know,
Yeah.
Like,
but the storyline is on. It's in a good place for the first
the
one.
first one,
Yeah.
the storyline, it's like balances really well that area of, hey, we're a Disney Channel movie, and oh, you know, this is a movie we care about. It balances that very well. Then you get into the second one, it's like, oh, people liked the first one? Oh, man!
It's just Disney profiting off of
Yeah.
their
And it worked.
successfulness. And it worked, you know.
Yeah.
They made a third
I
one.
mean, the
so.
thing is, from a production standpoint, this is a good movie. It
Yeah.
has great cinematography, it has great choreography, the songs, like 99% of them are bangers.
Except for a few of them.
Except for a song.
But that one's
Ace.
purposely supposed to be
It's
bad.
Yeah.
supposed to be like
Okay,
that,
we should
though.
probably talk about the synopsis of the movie.
Yes, I
Yeah.
mean, you probably know High School Musical. It's High School Musical too. But it's basically, it's summertime. They just finished with their junior year in high school, and Sharpay is staying at her family's country club resort thing, and all of our main cast is working there.
Because Sharpay wanted to get Troy to work there
Which
so
I
she could...
still have a problem with.
We'll talk about that.
I know.
She wanted to be close to Troy so that she could get together with him.
Because screw Gabriella, that's why.
And so they're all working at this resort, and then because Sharpay is trying to get closer to Troy, she's getting him all of these opportunities with, like, scholarship people and college people, and Troy's taking them because why wouldn't you? And then all of his friends are getting mad at him because he's changing, I guess.
It's
Yeah.
not a good point, though, because most friends, I mean, my friends, would be supportive of helping to get scholarships.
I'm so
and-
glad you feel that way about us.
I know, right? Yeah.
Amazing.
Like, when one of your friends gets something good, you're like, oh, good on you.
Wow. I mean, like, you can feel jealous to a certain extent, but if that jealousy is making you act like a terrible person like Troy's friends did in this movie.
Chad and that one girl that's Gabriella's friend.
We still don't know her name.
What
They
is her
never
name?
said her name in this movie. Never.
I'm looking it up. What's her name?
Oh no, because that one guy, the Mr. Fuller, was like,
Oh.
oh, Miss
Montez is Gabriella.
No, it was like a Mick Hans or something.
We still don't know her name.
Yeah.
The point is, we hate her so much we don't care about her name.
Well, see, but like she's barely in this movie, so I think they recognized, oh, this is a sucky character.
Okay, and then we have, in particular, one of the songs. It's called Fabulous. Anyway, in that song, Ryan kept teleporting to play the piano.
Yes. How did Ryan have these
Like,
mystical powers?
This isn't like an accidental, oh, he's at two places at once. They purposefully show you him leaving the chair, getting back on the chair, not being in the chair, and then being at the piano when those things happen.
And the transition happens like 4 times.
He's also wearing
more?
different clothes.
Yeah,
And he's in the pool in those clothes.
And he's not wet when he gets out. So
And his hair is different. They like gelled his hair when he's at the piano.
yeah,
He's just Ryan.
He's not wearing his fedora.
He's not. Because they gelled his hair.
Fedora.
The fedoras.
I know. Ryan's fedoras in general just
I
are so great.
hate his fedoras.
Kick it out.
I'm sorry that I'm
Sorry, I thought they were kind of nice.
I'm sorry that I don't
Add
like
to
bad fashion.
They add to his character though.
Honestly,
like, it's
it's-
a Ryan thing.
Yeah, it's a Ryan thing.
Yeah,
He's
but
so
that doesn't make it a
eccentric.
good thing.
Stop interrupting me. Taylor McKessie.
That's
the
right.
friend's
It was
name.
Nick.
It was.
It
yeah,
was.
Taylor McKessie is the
McKessie.
friend's name.
It's your name.
Taylor!
Taylor! So Fabulous is the third best song in this entire series.
Well, according to you.
According to you.
And you
Well-
said it was good.
Well, I didn't say it was the third best one, but
Well, I asked what your
no, I did
favorite
say that was the
songs
third
were.
best one.
well, yeah, it's pretty good. It's nice. It's catchy. It has Ryan teleporting.
Personally, I'm not a super big fan of the song. I don't really like it, but
Let's talk about one that we all agree is amazing. The second best song in the series, I Don't Dance.
also
that was-
known as the baseball song.
no!
This song is just so great because it has Ryan, and you actually get to see more of his character. I feel
And
like, and he's-
Chad, my favorite, even though he's really bad in this movie because they wasted him.
I don't know why, but Harley likes all the characters that just suck.
No,
Yeah.
I like Chad
and Sharpay.
and Sharpay, but that's it.
They
And
both-
Troy.
They both suck. Except for Troy. Troy is the only character in this
Yeah.
movie that we like.
That's because the whole entire storyline is about Troy and his inner side.
Well, see, but
conflict.
Troy didn't really do anything wrong in this movie.
So Troy, in this movie, this whole entire storyline revolves around him and his conflicts that he's having between friends and scholarship.
But he shouldn't have to choose between his friends and his future because his friends should be supportive of what he wants to do with his life. And it's just really annoying. However, Troy is a great character, but he is very passive.
Troy is an extremely passive character in this movie. He's just goes along with whatever anyone says, and he never does anything for himself, and he never says no to people, especially Sharpay, especially adults in this movie. He is the only person who he genuinely, like, questions himself around is himself and his dad. And that's why his dad is amazing.
We love the dad characters in this movie.
The dads are the best!
Yes.
Sharpay's dad and Troy's dad, they're both pretty cool.
Gabriella, throughout this movie, is basically just Troy's girlfriend and exists just by that role, and she doesn't really have a personality or, like, do things for herself for the most part.
I think we can confidently say that Gabriella is like a non-character in this series. Troy is the main character. He has all of the conflict. He has all of the relationships. People around him exist to be in a relationship with him, and that's especially evident with Gabriella because she has nothing outside of Troy. That's why her sad song revolves around him.
And the moment things get hard, she runs away. She just leaves, and it's really annoying and confusing, especially since she was annoyed because Sharpay said that she and her friends couldn't perform in the festival competition thing, and then she took it out on Troy and acted like it was his fault, even though he didn't even know.
He had no clue. He just thought he was going to progress and everything was going to be fine and everyone was going to be okay if he just acted normally, and then everyone's so mad at him. It's so confusing for Troy and so frustrating for an audience.
Honestly, the only thing Troy ever did wrong was he was slightly rude to Chad when he brought him, like, the wrong burger and was like, oh, I asked for Swiss cheese. And then Chad and the rest of his friends the entire movie were just like, oh, You're successful?
You're a different person. I don't even know who you are. You're Italian shoes.
Yes, the Italian shoes are such a big thing throughout this movie, and I don't understand why.
Every time someone wants to say that Troy is a different person now, they're like, your new Italian shoes.
And even his dad, like, he goes and talks to his dad, and he's like, I'm a new person, and I have new shoes, and his dad is like, new shoes? Are they Italian?
I don't understand.
Like, why is this the representation of his success? I don't get it.
Apparently, successful people have new shoes.
That are Italian.
Yes.
The only other thing that could possibly be held against Troy is the fact that he was going to basketball practice with some of these big shot basketball people, and his friends were like, hey, can you ask them to come over here so they can play with us? And he was like, no, I would rather not, like, no, I think it's a closed practice, and he, like, shut his friends out. But honestly, I can see why he did that, because Gabriella just spent, like, the last 5 minutes telling him that he was a horrible person because he was getting opportunities, and so I could understand why he'd be like, you know what, I don't want to hang out with you guys.
I don't want to be around people right now, so I'm just gonna spend it with these college kids who would probably be really uncomfortable spending time with more than one high schooler at a time.
These college basketball players, like, they're only getting Troy because of Sharpay's dad and those connections. And so they wouldn't really, like, even if Troy asked, hey, do you want to play a set with my buddies? They'd be like, actually, we're going to go to the gym and it's going to be this thing, but only you can come.
Yeah, and I think, like, I would much rather hang out with these successful people who are, like, happy about my success and want to see me succeed than my friends who are like, you can't be successful
Without me.
without us.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're doing this whole movie. They're saying, you're supposed to represent the team, not figure out your future and scholarships.
Even though that was talked at the beginning of the movie, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do about my future, and, like, my parents are, like, scholarships, and I need them. And then the rest of the movie, it's like, no, we're in high school. We just need to have a good summer and make connections with our friends.
That's so dumb. It would be like you guys saying that I couldn't publish my book until you put your names on it.
Exactly.
Like, I did all the work and yet I'm supposed to give y'all credit.
Oh my
like, that's
goodness.
so dumb, and I'm so mad about it.
It would be like saying you're not allowed to publish your book until I have a book ready to publish.
It's just like, what? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. It's dumb. I think what this movie is trying to get across is that you need to live in the moment and not focus on your future so much because it's high school and have fun. But also, it's kind of important to focus on what your future is and plan things and figure out your financial situation.
Yeah, because once you reach that point, like, it's good to have a plan, because if you don't know what you're gonna do, then you're just gonna be stressed out.
Honestly.
And you're probably gonna cry a lot.
I have a rant to make.
Harley has a rant to make, and we
Very
were subjected
important.
to this in the middle of the movie.
The golfing in this movie. If you're not aware, I play golf.
How could they be aware of that?
Yeah, we've never talked about this before.
Shut up. Now, I played golf in high school. I'm gonna be doing it in college once I get back into school this fall. And my goodness, the golfing in this movie is so terrible. And there are moments where it's purposefully trying to be terrible, like the mom says 4 before she even hits the ball, which is not something you're supposed to do. But I can understand that it's trying to be funny. But there are other things in here where it's trying to be serious, where, like, it genuinely doesn't make sense. For example, Sharpay's dad asks Troy his opinion on what club he should hit with for this specific hole. And what Troy says is that it's 190 meters on an elevated green, and he should use a 5-iron. A 5-iron! Do you know what 5-irons are meant for?
No.
Probably not.
Neither do we.
We don't do golf, and, I don't know about the audience.
5-irons are meant for 250 meters. 190 on an elevated green is not meant for a 5-iron. That's meant It's meant for a 7-iron, actually. And you know what happens? The dad ends up in the sand pit, and it's because he used that 5-iron, and it's Troy's fault. And they try and act like Troy is a good golfer, but he clearly knows nothing about what's going on. And some of the other things they do, like that was the most obvious one, but some of the things they do in this sequence made me so, like, Sharpay uses a 7-iron as a pitching wedge when she was like 2 inches from the green and could have just used a putting wedge. And I was so mad. Yeah. Anyway.
Are you done?
Nice rant.
I love that. For all you golf fans out there who understood anything that just happened.
Honestly.
Okay, so I think Ryan, is the only character that we haven't really talked about yet.
And Sharpay.
Ryan, this entire movie is just so sick of his sister because Sharpay uses him less as a brother and more as a servant. And, like, this entire movie he's been, like, running around trying to help her out. And then the moment Troy says
And teleporting. He figured out teleportation for her.
Yeah, like, what the heck, Sharpay? The moment Troy agrees to sing with Sharpay, she tells Ryan that they're not performing together anymore. Even though they were planning on performing together this entire year, and they always perform together every single summer, she's just like, no, not anymore, because I have Troy now. And so he gets so mad that Gabriella manages to recruit him to helping the Wildcats perform their dance and musical number for the showcase. But at the very end of the movie, he does something a little weird.
Okay. All right. This is my turn. Ryan. So here's the thing, right? Troy made a deal so that everyone would be able to perform. He would perform with Sharpay, and yet Ryan skips out on Sharpay and does the pettiest stuff I have ever seen in recent movie history. Alright? He skips out on Sharpay, tells Troy that she told him that they were supposed to learn a new song, and so Troy, in a rush of panic, learns this new song, and guess what? He kicks Sharpay out of her own show.
To be clear, Ryan does that. Troy has no idea what's going on.
Well, also, it's not just Ryan. Like, Kelsey and Gabriella and all the Wildcats are totally behind this idea. It's not just Ryan.
But Ryan's the one who, like, really did it.
Well, yeah.
And it's Sharpay's brother. He's Sharpay's brother, you know? Like, she did some terrible things, but sometimes siblings are terrible to each other. And Ryan, in the pursuit of his character arc, should have been the bigger person here, and yet Sharpay is forced to be the bigger person when she gives Ryan the award at the end of the movie, despite the fact that he was mean.
He even told Troy that he didn't want to see his sister crash and burn, and then yet he changes the song on her last moment, and it was his idea, and he got so much joy out of it. I don't know. I understand why he did it, because the entire time Sharpay wanted the spotlight and was pushing everyone out of the spotlight, so I guess he wanted his revenge and to be like, okay, you wanted the spotlight this entire time, guess what, you don't get it. I understand that feeling, but honestly, they had already, figured out the entire conflict of the movie. They had already resolved everything. There was no need to do it.
And I understand that they wanted Gabriella to come back, but they could have done both. Troy could have performed with Sharpay, gotten his opportunities from the scholarship people that were there to see him, allowed Sharpay to have her time, done the song with Gabriella, because they were two different songs. They forced him to learn a new song so that he could perform it with Gabriella, and then they still don't do the one with Sharpay.
Well, it was probably because it just would have made the movie longer and Disney production reasons.
Honestly, I just don't get why they made Ryan do that, because
it just makes him look terrible.
I mean,
it does.
Yeah, going with the Wildcats was probably enough of a revenge move against Sharpay.
Yeah, I feel like, because she was already pretty upset, and then even before this all happened, she admitted to him that she liked Troy more than she liked herself. And I think that's when Sharpay really starts to realize that what she's been doing is not good, and she starts to kind of turn herself around. So there was really no reason for Ryan to do what he did, because his sister was already really upset about what happened.
I think the reason why, at the end of each movie, Sharpay makes the bigger person move is because Disney doesn't know if they're going to make another movie.
That's fair. That makes sense.
That's a good point.
Because in most movies like this, they make the antagonist, the enemy person, they have to make a resolution, become a better person.
I don't know what happens in the third movie, so I can't say how accurate that is.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Sharpay's not as much of an antagonist in the third one, but she's still a little bit of an antagonist. It's complicated. Third one's bad.
I do know that they did make another spin-off movie of Sharpay.
Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure is genuinely so good, guys.
Yeah, I've heard it's good, and I heard that Sharpay is better in that one.
I love Sharpay so much. All of the adults in this movie are genuinely so chill and so good. Like, Mr. Fulton is obviously a pseudo-antagonist because he's working with Sharpay, but he's just doing his job.
And he even breaks down and he, like, is talking to Taylor and he talks to her and he just is breaking down from all of this stress and he's like, I'm just doing this to keep my job. I need some tea, man.
Like, the whole entire time, he doesn't want to do it because he's not a bad person, but he knows that Sharpay will probably get him fired if he doesn't. So Sharpay's really the one behind everything bad that happens in the movie.
And so all of the adults in this movie are genuinely so chill. The scholarship basketball guys, Troy's dad, Sharpay's dad, even Sharpay's mom is just like, all right, sweetheart, calm down. It's whatever. Don't worry. These are your high school friends. And everyone, all of the adults in this movie are so chill, and I love them. And I wish that the teenagers could be this chill, but they aren't, and I hate the teenagers, and that's really disappointing.
Honestly, yeah. The only person in this entire movie that isn't horrible, I think I already said this, is Troy. He makes, like, one mistake, and then that's it. And everyone just blames him for all of their problems the rest of the time.
I mean, it's not that different from what happened in the first one. Because they still have...
See, but the difference is that in the first one, we were supposed to be siding with Troy.
Yeah.
But in this one, we're supposed to be siding with Troy's friends. And Troy didn't do anything wrong.
Honestly, I'm really disappointed in the fact that he chose his friends over, like, scholarship opportunities or whatever. I mean, I guess he did still get them, but I don't know, it just feels, like, weird. It feels like his friends should have definitely been more supportive of him.
I feel like there should have been, like, a plot point where one of the friends decides what Troy's doing is actually good, like, scholarships for your future is a good thing, and somehow convinced, like, Chad and the rest of the Wildcats.
Yeah, the arc should have been that way for his friends, instead of Troy being like, oh, I'm gonna choose my friends over my future, sort of thing.
And the thing is, the dad actually is, like, making these points. I know that, like, these are your friends and you care a lot about them, but you're not going to be a team forever and you have to figure out what you're doing with your life. And that is genuinely such a good piece of advice from any parent, from anyone, really. And the fact that they disregard that genuinely good piece of advice for, but friendship and Wildcats and yeah! And I kind of hate it. Let's talk about Bet On It, the best song in this entire trilogy, because that's what it is. Bet On It is...
I love how you just point that out as a fact, because it is the best movie.
It is, undeniably. Everyone loves this song. Honestly, though, I could go so in-depth over this song and what it is and why it's so good. I love this song.
Honestly, when I was listening to it, it was weird because I was like, it sounds kind of more like he's singing about getting his scholarships opportunities and less about his friends because he's like, I'm not going to stop till I get my shot. And, like, it kind of sounds like that's talking about his scholarship opportunities.
What's happening is that the song is about his conflict between his opportunities and his friendships. So, like, it's like, did you ever get on a ride and want to get off? He's talking about having these opportunities and then suddenly he's regretting them because all of his friends hate him now, which is so dumb. And then later he's like, I'm gonna take my shot. I'd have to sing it to know the lyrics. Thank you for joining us today. This was High School Musical 2.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Harley.
And I'm Vanessa.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.